I mean, I believe MCP is not nothing new, right? I mean, it was there all along, right? I mean, I think what we are able to do via MCP is nothing but amazing. But is MCP the next HTTP? I would,
Hmm.
but through Singapore local schools standard fifth math, and none of them can do it. I don't know what's wrong.
PSLE benchmark.
Just PSLE benchmark, and I think they will all. The day they happen, the day they are able to do all of them successfully in the right way, I think we should declare AGI already.
PSLE maths is the bar for AGI. Amit says that.
By the AGI is, I mean, all this while I was thinking AGI people are referring to Amit Gupta Intelligence.
Oh yeah, obviously that's not going to arrive because that's just you. Okay, great. Thanks, Amit, for joining. Very excited to have you here. Amit is the founder of Konfirmity and Mockingjay, and previously he was the founding CTO of Instagram, which is now famous as Neom. But maybe I want to hear a bit from you, Amit, a little bit about your career, your career arc overall, so we get a sense of, all the great stuff you have built, but also how that leads to what you're doing now and how it informs your thinking around generative AI. So maybe if you can give us a quick overview.
Sure. Thank you, Deepak. I mean, pleased to be here. It's nice to talk to another one who understands what we do, right? Otherwise, CTOs are mostly unknown species.
Behind the scenes all the time.
Absolutely, right. And even when you are at the front, I mean, nobody cares about you. So a little bit about me. You're born in a small town in India called Ranchi, right? And then I moved to Bombay for my studies. I spent like a little bit of time in Ranchi, but then I'm a Bombay guy. So, I mean, very early, I mean, I came from Ranchi to Bombay and I was like surprised, like saying, wow, right? I mean, so shiny world, people with perfect articulated or pronunciations. Right? Then I mean, I got my first computer then. I was doing my computer engineering, right?
Okay.
And got hand-on computer, internet, right? All of that. So that's how my journey started. I mean, I started tinkering with it. Within my first year, after my first year of my studies, I started a company. I mean, I met somebody on Yahoo Messenger. ASL days. I'm
Yes.
not sure if it will resonate with a lot. I mean, ASL days.
Yes.
I met somebody who's still friend, but I mean, I've lost touch. US-based guy, he said saying, what are you doing? And I said saying, I'm studying. I was like saying, why don't you start hosting business? So I
Okay.
started my first company. Then it was called R2A Informatics, ready to access anywhere. Right.
Right.
So, I mean, like, that's how I started. And like over the period of time, I kept tinkering mostly in my whole career. I have done only one job where I worked for World Bank for I think 5 years almost.
Oh,
Other
wow.
than that, all of them have been either the businesses which I founded or businesses which were started by somebody else and I kept following up. Right. I mean, I kept building with them, co-building with them. I mean, so I have been building technology, but I mean, I was not a very great trend spotter, right? I built a hosting company,
Mm.
but today AWS could have been Amit Web Services, but it is not. I coded a accounting system, but
Mm.
I did not made it like kind of a, like zero. So or Tally, right? I mean, even Tally could not become like
But
zero,
why
right?
do you say it's not trend spotting? These were very solid trends. So I think you were at least, I mean, on paper, you at least spotted the very nice trends, right? Like these
But
were.
never build on that, right? I mean, see, that's what I was saying about technology guys and other guys, right? I mean, I was talking to somebody very recently, and he was telling me saying, I mean, initially there are builders, and then when company becomes sizable, when you could get benefited from it or from what you have built, that time people who come in, I mean, like they are the trend spotter, right? They're riding the wave. You have just built the motorbike, right? But they're riding it,
They know
right?
where to take it.
At least they know how to ride it, right? I mean, I built those, but I did not take them to its logical conclusion, right? So that's why I say I believe I was not riding them, but I was building them. I was building the wave, but not riding them. So this time, I'm going to do a little bit different, and I'm trying to saying, hey, can I build it and can I ride it too? So I think that's the difference between like before and today.
And
Okay.
GenAI is definitely a wave, and that's kind of the premise of this conversation as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is real, what's not real? How do we project this out, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And so, what are you seeing in this wave now, and how is that leading up to what you're doing now?
See, this wave is nothing unusual from what was happening like back in the day, right? By that, what I mean is, I started fintech when it was not even known as fintech. Nobody had this word called fintech. I think fintech word got coined much later, right? Although when we started, TransferWise was already there. It was a beginner, but it was there, right? There were companies who were running or who were building how financial technology or how financial ecosystem looks now. But I think this terms gets coined by people who are trend spotters or who are building the narrative and they get benefited the most. My journey to so-called Gen AI, right? I think it started from NIAM, right? In NIAM in 2016, I think 2016 or 17, which were growing like crazy. Uh, then what we needed to figure out saying how do we serve these customers? So we had to automate our customer support. So what I did, I took all the customers' chat history, whatever had happened till date, and I fed it to a classical model, right? Using NLP. I think there were early days and Google had a framework, something Flow or something, right, to build a chatbot.
Dialogue flow.
Dialogue Flow. Yeah. And there was another one popular that time, right? So use that to make how GenAI looks today. So we built the technology in 2016, right? But and it was useful, but we did not call it GenAI. So you would see this many times. You are already using GenAI, but it is not known as GenAI. And really, in most recent times, like Konfirmity's origin is related to like GenAI.
Okay.
So again, what happened as fintechs were selling to P2Ps, we get a lot of customer due diligence questions. And back then, I remember, we called some of Singapore CTOs, and we were sitting at a place and saying, as a CTO, what did you do not want to do at all? And people said, saying, hey, filling in these questions is so boring. It's not creative use of our time. And I was like saying, like, what does it take to get rid of that? Right. So wrote a small classifier, and if you feed 4 or 5 already answered questionnaires, next time it will start answering those for you. That was the whole idea. So that gave birth to Konfirmity. I think if you go a little bit further, right? I think when we started Mockingjay about 2.5 years ago, right? That was another moment where we said saying, hey, LB, why should software testing be fragmented, where to do UI testing, you need one software. To do API testing, you need another software. To do load testing, you need another software. So, our vision was saying, hey, there'll be all these different functions should come at one place because you're basically testing the same software, right? So in Mockingjay, now we do 6 different type of testing in one software. Right. And these are different agents. You could call it agents, you could call it workflows, right? But that's another, Gen AI use case.
So in both of these, Konfirmity and Mockingjay, you really started with a problem statement, right? You really started with what is the actual pain point, and then can I do something about it? And in the case of Konfirmity, I think it was pre-Gen AI even, like just start with classical classifiers, NLP, etc. Mockingjay, I believe, is kind of, is it around?
Is timed.
Yeah. But it's not that you said, you know what, this was a problem statement in the past and there was no way to solve it, or it was very painful to solve it, but GenAI makes it possible.
Yeah. No, none of them were that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the, that's the way, at least for me, right? Look at blockchain, right? I think technology was built and then people started looking for problems to solve.
Yeah.
And they were
Very
force
easy
fitting.
to it's very easy to fall into that trap. What can I do? What can I do with this? Right? How can is someone going to buy this? Is someone going to take this? It's very easy to fall into that trap if you start with the technology. Yeah.
I remember that saying again. I mean, I'm not very good with sayings, but like when you have a hammer in your hand, everything it starts
Like,
to look like a nail on
yeah,
the wall, right?
yeah, absolutely. Uh, okay, but given you didn't start with it, has it changed how you think about the product architecture or the direction? And if so, like how?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, at least, I mean, both these businesses were started where I did not bring any external funding at all. I had not even thought of that I will do anything like that, right? I mean, I was building with my own money, brought in people who were right for the right to partner, right to co-found, right, etc. But we had never thought that these are viable venture scale type of businesses, right?
Mm,
Idea was to like, I mean, with Konfirmity, idea was saying, hey, can I take over all your security and compliance worries? Because, I mean, like, truth is, right, because of lack of bandwidth, right, and dedicated knowledge leadership, right, you end up sidelining much of security and compliance in the sites, right? I mean, you put it under the carpet saying, okay, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow. Idea was, and like while building Neum, I mean, we realizing there are plethora of security tools you buy, plethora of compliance tools you buy, then you bring in a specialist, then they are not enough, then you hire more, and they are not enough.
And there's something people don't appreciate enough, that there's a difference between security and compliance, in the sense
Oh,
that it's not that CTOs are sitting around ignoring security, but compliance is much more about proving that you have implemented security correctly. Audits are not the point at which you implement security, hopefully. It's much more about proving, and proving is actually quite a different beast, and it can be quite
ardennes.
challenging.
So, I mean, like, I will not go too deep, but right, I mean, there, I think this time I was at RSA, and I mean, like, I spoke about it, like, and a lot of people had very different reactions. I mean, they understood it, but they were also shocked, right? Like, I mean, I'll just take possibly 30 seconds or a minute to answer that. See, compliance was always supposed to be outcome of security. However, in recent times, what happened? I think it was done by Y Combinator deliberately. I blame them for it. And I think what happened that they wanted many of their startups to do B2B sales. And they knew that they are never going to be secure because they want to build fast, fail fast, and all of that, right? So they said saying, hey, even if security is absent, no problem. If you're compliant, that's fine, right? And that's how this whole wave of companies like XXX and XXX, right? I
I
mean,
can imagine who you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, right? There are a lot of now compliance manufacturing machines
Mm.
where you just put documentation and a certificate comes out saying, hey, you are SOC 2 type 2 certified. I asked somebody, they're saying, I mean, like, what is, like, I mean, what are you compliant with? And they said, saying, I have got SOC 2 type 2 certification. I was like saying, do you know that SOC 2 type 2, you do not get certified, you get arrested. Saying, what is the difference? I was like saying, okay. I mean, you're running a security company, and if that is the question you're asking, then
Mm.
I know how secure you are, right? So, I mean, right, that one is a slippery gully. I will not enter that, right? But coming back to it, right? So, when we started these businesses, idea was to build self-sustainable businesses which will serve not more than 50 to 100 customers, each one of them. That was my idea. Saying both these businesses will always, in their lifetime, they will serve 50 to 100 customers, but they will give best, right? Best bang for the buck. We invest so much of time in working with individual customers, right? I mean, many times they come back and say, saying, like, can we skip this week, right? Because I mean, we get tortured from different investors, different clients, and now you are just raising the bar, right? I mean, each time. What GenAI has done, it has given me confidence that I will be able to provide that same quality, same relentless quality, right? Same raising the bar every couple of days, every couple of weeks, every couple of months, right? To unlimited customers, right?
Mm.
That's what I feel.
Made it's made it possible for you to be more ambitious without changing the fundamental economic model of the company. In the sense, you didn't want to take on VC funding, all of that, but you're still able to expand your addressable market now. Your ambition has just become much bigger. Yeah.
So, I mean, previously, possibly this type of personalized, high quality, to scale it, I would have to hire like 10,000 people. And I was not interested in running 10,000 people company,
Yeah.
right? But now I feel like, I mean, with possibly 100 people, I can serve possibly everyone who wants to be secure, who wants to be compliant, who wants to conform to the higher bar, right? I think that's what GenAI has done.
I think maybe it'll be useful to, if you can explain a bit how Konfirmity works, because I know you call it compliance outcome as a service in the sense that you own the full problem. And I know you're going with that because like that's the relation between why you need the human element in what you're providing till now. And now you can scale the human element, but maybe speak a bit more about where the human element is so important, because people generally picture everything as a full on automated SaaS.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's possible if you're manufacturing compliance. That's not possible if you are complying. So, I mean, how conformity works is, so I mean, going back to my earlier statement saying compliance is supposed to be outcome of you doing security. You're doing things which are secure, which is making you more and more secure. So what we do is we get into a company and then like we figure out what are the different layers and where do you need security, right? And every layer then has like say application security, right? So in application you have got two layers. One is security, one is compliance. So in application security per se, like let's say you are saying, hey, are you using any static code analysis tools? That is ensuring that you are secure. What percentage of your code got scanned to, I mean, how many security bugs you are finding, etc. And from compliance point of view, if you look at it, like, are you training your developers? Are number of security bugs going down? Right. So we figure out what is the surface area for an organization. We generally go with about eight different levers. At each of these levers, we first make you secure. We say saying, hey, and security has to be contextual. I keep going back to that paradigm that people take Google level of security and they will force feed it to somebody who is running a 25 people company. I mean, I have come across many of them, and it is like wearing wrong size underwear. I mean, it is going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be comfortable with it. So what we do is we figure out what is your surface area. We look at what is the maturity model needed for your organization, and then we make you secure. We don't advise you unlike others. We are not an advisory company. We are a executioner company, right? So I mean, we'll come and execute it with you for you. So like many companies buy Datadog or Cloudflare. Are you using it right? Have you configured it right? What are the changes each release which happens of Cloudflare? Are you able to extract max value out of it? So we work with you regularly to figure out what is the tooling needed at each layer, what type of security is needed, and then we hyper tune it to make sure that it is optimal for your use. And once we make you secure, making you compliant is like this, right? I mean, it's a factor of that. So we are really living the ad is saying, I mean, we make you secure, and as a result of that, you anyway become compliant, right? Because after, so this is how we work, and that's how human element is required because you want to understand it. If I was running a venture funded model, I would have to go ahead and scale it every day or every month. I would have to show saying I'm growing X percentage, and thereby I'll have to make compromises, which I was not ready to do.
And so how has it changed, right? Maybe a bit concrete, or maybe two parts, right? One is, how did you decide to introduce, were there particular areas where you felt actually that area might benefit from Gen AI more than others, so you had a mental model of how you want to deploy it, maybe something tangible where it's been living up to the promise?
Yeah. So I mean, I'll take one very easy topic, our vulnerability assessment and penetration test. Take penetration test for example. I mean, I can bet 50% of my wealth, whatever it is, on that. 99% of the pen tests are vulnerability scans disguised as pen tests, right? I mean, like someday I'm happy to be challenged on this, but I mean, like this is what happens. So there is a standard, right? It is called ASVS, right? I mean, it is a standard by OWASP. I don't think many people know about it, right? ASVS, if you follow ASVS, it is like saying what is the best you can do while building a solution. if you were compliant with ASVS, there is a guarantee that your pen test is not going to bring you anything at all, right? Or is going to bring very minimal, right?
Okay.
Pen tests are again just a storefront. They're to show that you're secure.
Mm.
Idea is not for you to become secure. If you wanted to be secure, you will, when you are developing the code, you will test it differently, right? Does your test cases as of now feature something like saying, hey, can a SQL injection happen?
Mm.
Not really, right? I mean, because our hand is also pressed by 10 other levers where we want to deploy faster, right? I mean, every time it comes in saying, hey, your deployment is so slow. And so you want to work on that, you do not want to add another layer, right? So I mean, like use pen test, what we have done, we have built our own tool. I can say about, as of now, about 70% automated using GenAI,
Okay.
right? So you submit your URL, you submit your credentials, you submit your different roles, you submit the scopes needed for each of these roles. That means admin has access to these endpoints and viewer has access to these endpoints. So that, I mean, if you wanted to test for privilege escalation, we can do that. We take all of that, we have built our own tooling, right? To run your application, then intercept traffic at network level, right? Manipulate it and see how it behaves. Run it against all OS top 10, and we can extend it to whatever we want. So about 70% automated, 30% still manual, right? It still needs tweaking. That's one fantastic tool set which we have built, which I think can already, I mean, put about 70% of the pen test happening in the world to the same, right? I will not say saying, I mean, all 100%, but at least about 60, 70%. I mean, we can already put that to bed, saying they will be results will be inferior than ours.
And so in this automation, were there particular challenges? Like, did you have to, is it just off the shelf models or did you have to fine tune anything?
So, I mean, I think what we have done is before feeding it to the model, there are a couple of layers.
Okay.
So we have built our own flows because, I mean, we know it is never a straight cut. If you believe the Twitter mayhem, right? I mean, you'll find like whole world has changed, or whole of San Francisco is infested with homeless and druggies, etc., etc. I was just there for like 15 days, and it is not. There is just one street, but people will. I mean, people being people, right? They will take one negativity and paint the whole town red, right? So I think, I mean, and this is what it is, right? I mean, it is not a very straight execution. It has got many layers, and those layers, I mean, I would not say they work all the time. That's why about 30% of the manual intervention or human in the loop, where we look at it very closely. We do pen test. We do not offer pen test as a service to somebody. We only work for our clients.
Got it.
And our idea is to again keep them secure. It is not to give them a pen test report.
So your internal tooling is kind of just optimized for your own usage and it's optimized, maybe it's also optimized for the particular client that you are engaging with, right? Because you know what scenarios are important for this client and you know what your tool needs to do in this context, right? So it's
Yes,
almost like it's a co-pilot for your human pen tester.
absolutely, man. And see, I think this tooling we change it often. You rightly said. I mean, like when we were doing this pen test for a agentic workflow company, right? One of the biggest, right? We figured our tool lacked something. I mean, we were not ready for AI use cases to test AI. I mean, we were very good at doing traditional application or mobile pen test, but we were not ready for that. So I mean, so we had to do two releases to catch up with that, right? And then do the air pen test. So I mean, it is many times required for us to customize it or add some more layers to our tool.
So organizationally, is it that you have to drive this kind of thinking and architecture change saying, hey, maybe these are problems that should be solved with GenAI? Or is it actually very organic and everyone intuitively is finding ways of applying GenAI? Or where is the pendulum here?
I would not say it is organic, and that will be a brag. I think I mean, it's very it's painful. Many of the people, right? I mean, even our own testers back in the time, we used to tell them saying, "Hey, use Mockingjay to test conformity." It was a difficult transition because they were used to testing softwares in a way. and they did not want to change that.
Yeah.
They did not wanted to cut themselves out from the workflow, right? So it took us time to get there. So I mean, your whole software architecture has been built over the years and over the weeks and over the months. I have spoken about it, but I mean, is that structure optimal for AI to be used? Previously, our whole architecture was such that it was made for humans to comment code, right?
Mm,
Code commenting was such that saying possibly commenting is written in the Confluence and you need to read that and then come and make sense of it.
mm.
So question we have started asking in recent times, saying how should our code be architected? How should your database be designed so that AI can understand the context much more easily, right? And it has complete context whenever it wants to work.
This is, sorry, I'll digress a bit because I've actually gone through this exact point in the last week. So I've been using Cursor and I switched to Gemini Pro 2.5 Pro in
Yeah.
Cursor because I find it better than the default Claude one. Now, Gemini has this tendency to generate a lot of comments as it goes in the code because it's almost spitting out its thoughts as a comment, and then it writes a bit of code, then the next comment, etc. And the first couple of weeks I was pretty annoyed, like all because we got used to like comments shouldn't describe the code, right? Comments should be about why rather than what the code is doing and things like that. So I always found a lot of these comments redundant. I've been trained to kind of not write comments and make the function names descriptive and variables descriptive and all of that thing. And then it suddenly clicked me, right? Like in the future, this code is going to be read by the AI more than me, right? How will it know what it's doing? It needs this language,
Yeah.
right, to be
Yeah.
able to, continue to evolve the code. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I think I should, make peace with this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very right. Like that's just at the code level, but you're so profound in saying we have to also start thinking how does it impact the overall architecture itself, where we were used to a particular way of designing apps and our way of thinking about components and three-tier architecture, all of this, is it still valid? I don't know, like the jury is out, I think.
Yeah. 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 So I mean, I think we are learning as we go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think since we are a small team and we are looking at scaling this now without adding many thousands of people, right? If you want to build like $100 billion company with 100 people, how should it look like? I mean, I think it's a long journey. I don't think it'll be figured out today. I think it'll take some time for us to get there. We'll get there.
So is there anything you've tried and that worked, didn't work in driving a little bit of this culture change on being more proactive about thinking about AI usage, thinking about how AI changes how we build, design, test? Yeah.
One thing which has worked out is whole our RFC process. The way we write our RFCs,
Mhm.
right? The way we debate it out. I mean, so now somebody could go and they can write RFC and they can saying, hey, this is the context of Amit. Tell me how will he criticize this RFC or what his pointers will be. So before even coming to me, I mean, it has gone through a replica of Amit. He has looked at it and has criticized it enough so that when it comes to me, I mean, I have low points. I think that process has worked. I mean, we're still going through some improvements, but that has worked, right? What we are not successful still at is we were trying to do some front end standardizations, right? Like look at your UI components. Your UI components are, I mean, if you have a storybook, you have say 57 type of components and you will keep using each one of them. So that process is still going through evolution. And someday we will arrive at it where you wanted to design a new page and you could simply say use component number 23, 52 and 7.
Mm.
And this is the objective of the page. Design it, write the API, make it functional. I mean, I think that process we have not been successful at yet.
Yeah, I think that seems to be also an active area of development with a lot of companies. So Google announced a few things last week. Uh, y- a- It seems like a lot of the focus is on happy path 0 to 1, but that's not the reality of most of what we do. It's very rarely 0 to 1. And what you described is definitely in the latter bucket, because it's not like, okay, I have a clean slate, I can just take whatever component library I find fancy and just generate an app out of that. No, we have an existing component library. You must use it. And I don't think anything does it very well. Something, I think one area we are exploring is because we have Figma linked to our storybooks. And so as long as the designer is doing the right thing in terms of using our storybook components as part of the design, then Figma's tooling and a little bit of Cursor, etc., is getting better and better at kind of making that loop faster from going from Figma to like just standing up the app or the new screen.
Absolutely. I mean, like, but I mean, I think, as I was saying, right? I mean, the again, I forgot the saying, but there is a distance between cup and the lip, right? I think, I mean, there is a lot of building will have to happen. Or, I mean, I see two ways, right? I mean, one, either this industry will move towards where it develops that understanding on by themselves, right? Someday in future. Not today. It is not there today. Or we tweak our code base and architecture in such a way that each time you are telling AI to do something, you can provide exact context, what it needs to look at and how it should function. So we are trying to do the second one. We are not trying to build another cursor, but we are saying, okay, in current state, whatever capabilities of AI are, how do we use that to build a perfect software?
Mm. Are you making any bets which are making assumptions about where this tech will end up in 2 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, Mockingjay, right? I mean, I'll speak
Yeah.
about Mockingjay and take you there, right? Mockingjay, when we started, whole idea was saying hey, all the testing as of now happens on browser, but it happens on developer's browser or tester's browser. And then tester has to capture everything and then write it in a ticket and then send it to developer saying, look at it. And then, I mean, tester may have written something, his English may be wrong or his Chinese may be wrong and other person is not able to get the full context and then there is a lot of to and fro. That's one. And second problem, I mean, which I have come across in my career, saying whenever we deploy, we fix 10 things, we break two other things and we never know about it. Right. I mean, it always happens in production and it always, to misfortune of CTOs, it always comes from a customer who is important. He says, I was doing this and it broke. And I was like saying, come on, right? I mean, there got to be a better way. So idea was saying, first run the browser remotely, then own that browser. Whatever is happening, you should know, whether at the interface level or under the hood,
The
right?
network, all the payloads, everything. Yeah.
Yes, right. And that's what we did. So when we started, we ran the browser remotely and we said saying, go ahead and use your software the way you want to use. And as you keep using, we'll keep learning about it and writing test cases. Nobody has to now go and write a test case, right? I mean, you have to use the software. With GenAI coming in, said saying, okay, you don't even have to use it. We'll use your software. You just hand us the lock and the keys and we'll go and explore and we'll figure out what are the possible test cases. So we had ability to run the browser remotely. We have ability to talk to the browser and saying, I want to go from Singapore to Shanghai, book me a ticket, right? And it should be able to follow the pattern. So we are running browser remotely successfully in a scalable way at a cost efficient manner from last 2.5 years. And then we had ability to talk to the browser when OpenAI operator came. I looked at it and I was like saying, oh shit, I have this technology all along. It is just that I have not brought it separately. I mean, or nobody is able to use it. Only testers are toying with that. So then I took it out. We took it out and we are thinking of our third product. I mean, it has a funny name. Possibly name can change in future. Today it is called operator. So browser as a operator, right? Uh, that is a very Delhi
You
tune
don't
to it.
want people to start calling it bro operator.
It will be fun, is not it? Where people come saying, "Hey, bro, just do this," and it will get it done. Uh, whole premise is right. See, uh, look at tech. 1% people, I mean, like this is my thesis. My thesis is 1% people, less than 1% people, but like 1% people are the core builders who build the technology. About 10% more people right? Take the technology and build application layer on top. So 11% is gone. 89% people, right, will need to adopt. So we have got 8 billion people. 1% people are builders. The other 10% people will build application layer on top, and 89% people are consumers. They need to adopt.
Okay.
Look at, like CDG, Comfort Delgro, right? I'm just taking in a case. They are a traditional organization. They are competing with the best, but if they had to adopt GenAI, what are the blockers? Three. One, knowledge literacy. They do not have a, just like CTO, which is technology. They do not have somebody expert in AI who will come and own it, who'll say, I'll tell you what tool to use. See, there are other ways, like where you say saying, hey, knowledge leadership is not required. I'll go ahead and do what I please. Then you do what you please, and then after 1 year you have given up and you're saying, hey, this is not useful. Right. So knowledge leadership, what it ensures is that you have a right direction, right? With speed. Think about it, Michael. Right, Ferrari drivers. If they had all the speed in this world but no direction, what would it look like? Chaos. That's what happens. So adoption has got three main blockers. One is absence of knowledge leadership. Second, like reliability. Reliable. Nothing is there which is reliable. And again goes back to saying all these AIs and LLMs. Hallucinations is not a bug; it's a feature, right? So how do you make it reliable? How do you run it in a guaranteed manner, right? So my bet is that all these companies who need to adopt some, they will need all of these things for them to be able to run it. About 60, I believe about 60% of the enterprise tasks happen in the browser. About 60 to 70%, right? Like let's say you are using Zero. You don't use it as a standalone app. You use it in the browser. If I can already talk to browser, every person is doing somebody else's job, right? Once you record it or once you define it, so anything which can be put in a SOP, my bet is this, right? Anything which can be put in a SOP can be automated as a browser task, right? And it will be automated. And third bet that we will play a role.
Yeah. So I think this is like RPA is reborn, but way more powerful, because RPAs were kind of very brittle.
RPAs were like, they had a very fixed path.
Yeah, very brittle and a little bit change. They don't have the context. They are just following where I'm clicking. They have no idea what they are clicking on.
Yeah. So so you bring in with MCP, it has also become like much easier, right? To get the context. Like some mail has come in. Like MCP or integrations, right? Whatever you may want to call it. But you receive an email, you received an invoice, and you need to process a payment. You can take the invoice and you can run the whole flow as per the context, and you can have human in the loop wherever you want.
Yeah. So okay, you've mentioned MCP, and I think I want to try a little bit of signal versus noise now.
Sure.
Because it's like the most hyped piece right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so in signal versus noise, I'm going to say something. You have to call out whether that's signal, which means there's some value there, real value there, or it's just noise. Okay. And like maybe just one sentence, why, right?
Sure.
And then
I'll try.
These.
I'll try.
Because you mentioned MCP, signal or noise? Noise, okay.
I believe MCP is not nothing new. It was there all along. I think what we are able to do via MCP is nothing but amazing. Is MCP the next HTTP? I would defer.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay, will software agents ever commit to main directly? Meaning it's so autonomous that software is making changes, deploying to production, it's going out.
Yes, I think it's a signal. It's not a noise.
And how long do you think that time frame is?
I think it will be contextual. If you're talking about generic intelligence, I think we are far away from it. But can it happen in Konfirmity? Can it happen in Mockingjay? Absolutely yes. Within 6 months.
Okay. I can imagine you'll decide which GRs are okay, right?
Yeah.
You'll say, yeah, this piece, this is a small bug. I know, let it go. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another one, right? Like agents, do you consider robots agents or not? I would say they are also agents. It is just that they have a physical body. They're already already live, and I mean, like, they are out in the open. They are behaving themselves in public. So in a way, if you consider this whole world as main branch of the repo, they're already there.
Yeah, that's a fair take. Yes.
Waymo.
Yeah, Waymo. Yeah. They are making decisions which
Yeah,
are in production. So yeah. Okay, let's see. SRE agents.
sure. I mean, I think no brainer.
Signal. But my worry is that there's so much noise in our production environments that our agents able to separate that noise from the signal to be able to act correctly.
So little bit of time out, but I mean, like, because we'll digress.
Mhm.
But whole SRE function, I mean, whole security and security function, or at least SRE or reliability,
Mm.
it just because it does not have complete context. I mean, as simple as that, right? If every signal you knew this is production or non-production, you'll suppress everything, right? Whatever is non-production. I mean, or you'll at least ignore, and you'll say saying I can look at it after 4 hours. I'm making it simplistic. Well, please let me go back to what I was saying about conformity. If there are 8 layers defined, like application, cloud, your network, your XYZ, and you are using different software, you have different context everywhere. What we do and we are trying to arrive at, right? If you bring all the context and put them on top of each other, it becomes very easy for you to filter out noise. So you are receiving a signal, like, let's say you have subscribed to a threat intel provider.
Okay.
It told you saying, hey, there is a huge threat from Oracle. Now for a SRE to filter, saying where is that Oracle instance sitting, what purpose it is being served for, it takes time. So I think, I mean, conformity or conformity type of thinking, whoever will arrive at. Via productize, I mean, it can happen again. It's possible to do that in individual companies and layers. But for to do it in a generic way, you need to bring all of this data. So what we have done, where we have fragmented this industry so much that it creates noise, and its purpose is to create noise, so that it keep creating FOMO and you keep buying different one and the other tools, right? And saying let's go back to the source, bring all of this noise at one place, stack on top of each other, and let's figure out, is it noise, is it signal? I think, I mean, like, you don't need time to tell. I mean, conformity can tell you today.
But is it creating the XKCD problem that there are 10 standards, so I'm going to create 11th to unify everything, right? Because what you're saying is true. And yeah, the industry is rife with this, that all your stuff, and the stuff could be, assets, it could be network, endpoints, it could be devices, whatever it is. All your stuff is everywhere. I'm going to give you a unified single pane dashboard around all of your stuff. And then I have 10 unified dashboards. But now for agents, we need a unified dashboard.
So, I mean, see, SRE agents will not be able to do their job if they do not have context.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? MCP, I think, I mean, by toying with MCP, that's what people were trying to do. They were saying, hey, you'll have context all the time. Right? But I'm saying context is not enough. The amount of time it will take you to look at this, like, I mean, look at any of our organizations. Context is like you have been building in hours for like how many years now? 7, 8, 10?
In ours is 7.
7
I've been
years,
there
right?
for nearly 4.
Even in 4 years or even in 7 years, there is too much of context. Can that context be lying there like at the beginning? Possible. How do you filter out this context if you do not map them? So if you just throw a data warehouse at it, I'm saying it is not enough. You need to map them. So in the context, I mean, if it is a, how do you find that needle in the haystack? That's what I'm saying, right? Saying just haystack is not enough. I'll be lost. I'll be damned if you put me in the haystack and tell me to find something. But if those haystack individual haze, right? If they are carbon dated and categorized and connected, right? And can have pictures drawn saying this haystack, this piece of haystacks could have that clue. Whole, I mean, I'm going back to saying, I mean, whether this haystack is optimized. How do you optimize it? So if you are able to provide that context in a faster way, I think SRE should function in a much better way. Sorry, it was a monologue.
No, yeah. But I'm also curious if we will have to provide the context or it's something that it will be able to figure out, suss out. Maybe not in real time, but as a
Yeah.
separate, almost as a separate activity
Yeah.
where it's continuously building its own mental model or of our infrastructure, our environment, and is able to tap on it at any time.
I think this question, answer of this question is dependent upon whether you are looking for AGI or intelligence.
So
If it is
AGI,
AGI,
signal versus noise.
so if it is AGI, yes, you're right. Possibly it will keep adding that. Things as simple as I wanted it to write a program yesterday, which we were talking about, like Claude's most latest model, and it struggled.
Mm,
I'm not sure how Twitter bros. Just like not crypto bros, but also now become Twitter bros. I don't know. How these influencers get paid. I think there is a lot of noise, right? I mean, of capabilities. They are always overstated,
But do you
right?
think the current path of Gen AI as a technology has a path to AGI? Because a lot of people claim there is. So is that signal or that's noise as far as you think?
I think it's noise.
There's no
I
viability.
think, yeah, I think AGI will happen eventually, but none of
Mm,
these guys will not make it happen.
mm,
Either one of us or somebody different from them. I think AGI requires, see, we are talking about a mimicry artist and I.
mm,
These are these are mimicry artists. Not saying people are mimicry artists, but like more LLMs, what they are good at is the mimicking something and then combined intelligence, right? They are again looking at different pieces and they are saying, okay, if we tie this together, this is what an ideal answer looks like.
mm.
Whereas what is needed for AGI, possibly what is that SSI? What was that Ilaya OpenAI guy? He has started a company where he's saying, I will not release anything until AGI happens or whatever, right?
That's the best thing you can do, right? Hey, give
Yeah,
me all the money and I will not release anything. Can I raise like that?
sure. We just need to be in Valley to be
Yeah.
able to do that, right? But see, I think people who took bet on OpenAI were also similar, right?
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk taking a bet on himself to build a SpaceX, I think was that. So I believe AGI needs a different lens. Will these technologies be used? Absolutely, these technologies will be used to arrive at AGI. Will AGI happen in our lifetime? Absolutely, it happen. But will it be done by OpenAI or cloud? I'm not sure. I don't think so. And I hope that it is somebody else. It's also that I hope that it is somebody else and not them.
There's a bit of rational, but also a bit of hopeful.
Yeah. See the way they are going about it, right? Like yesterday I saw Windsurf's Varun Mohan, or like what is this, the
Mhm.
founder, right? He put out saying, we requested for Cloud Force access beforehand so that
Mhm.
we can tune it and etc. But it was not provided. So if somebody like even in the bigger boys have started to safeguard it, right, or start to put boundaries, uh, what will happen if they have AGI?
Yeah. Well, in the case of Anthropic, they are doing it because they think they are doing out of safety and as a practice to, in case they end up making AGI. So that's their mental model. But I think, I don't know, like, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. I came across some tweets by Anthropic employee where he said Anthropic in some situations, if it has access to tools and if the user is trying to do something shady like create bad drugs or something, will go ahead and use the tool to report to the police and stuff like that. That's, I think, crazy.
I think it's PR. I think it's PR.
But it's what's the upside of this PR? Why would an Anthropic employee go ahead
Because
and
they are saying we have been able to make something which nobody has been able to make. They are creating the hype, I believe. Because after using it for like yesterday and today, if this is what AGI looks like, then AGI is very shitty. If
yeah.
they can't get their numbering right in a document, they're top one.
Well,
After 7 prompts.
yeah, but most of our political leadership is enumerate anyway, so okay, on that lighter note, let me ask you a few personal questions,
Sure.
okay? Okay, let's do this lightning round. Um, what's the first app you open in the morning?
I would love to say, like, what is that meditation app? Heads?
Calm,
No,
Headspace?
Headspace?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to, but I mean, nowadays I open my mail first thing in the morning on the
Okay. Right. Dark mode or light mode?
dark mode, always, like 24 hours.
What's the latest gadget you bought?
Flipper, Flipper Zero.
Oh,
Yeah,
Flipper Zero. Oh, wow.
yeah.
Shouldn't admit it. Okay. When do you do your best work? What time of day? Is it night, day, afternoon?
Early morning.
Early morning. Okay, you're a morning person. If you were not doing this, what would you be in? What career would you be in? I know it's not art. We'd had that discussion before this.
I would have loved to become teacher, coach.
Okay. Anything particular you would have taught?
I mean, looking at nowadays philosophy, but I mean, like, I think possibly maths or literature.
Okay, nice. Okay. And one last quick question. Any book that you read that you want to recommend?
So there was a book which talks about all the different kind of uh, driving and how Tesla or anyone started. I have so many books that like most latest one which I'm reading is the Ray Dalio, The Principles. So I'm
Principles?
rereading that book. But there was a book which I recommend, which I have gifted to a lot of people in Singapore and outside.
Okay.
That book talks about how DARPA and the car racing, automated car racing, how they started,
Okay.
and what led to it become Tesla or whatever else in this world.
That sounds cool. Yeah, maybe after this we'll Google and find it. Or I'll ask Gemini, what's the
I'll
book?
send it to you. I'll send it to you. Right? I mean, I'll certainly send it to you. I have given that book to a lot of people. I think a lot of people love it. You'll like it too. Autonomy. So the book is called Autonomy, right?
Okay. All right. So
Lawrence
the journey
Burns.
of the autonomous car then.
Yeah, Lawrence Burns.
The Quest to Build a Driverless Car by Larry Burns. Is that the one? By
Yes,
Chris Shulman
yes.
and Larry
Yeah,
Burns.
that was one hell of a book. I mean, I could not put it down.
Okay.
So
Added.
I think that's the same feeling which I got I mean, this time when I was in SF, right? And I saw a Waymo driving in front of me
Hmm.
with no drivers.
Did you take the
And
ride?
oh yeah, yeah, I mean, like I think every day, right?
Way more.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like something told me then and there, right, to me saying, "What the heck are you not inventing something new?" Right?
The future has arrived. It's just unevenly distributed.
I hope we contribute to not the uneven.
Well, well, look, I'll be, you know, using your framework of 1%, 10%, 80, 89%. Not in the 1%, but hope to be in the 10% to make that uneven a bit more even. Bring that tech, propagate it, deploy it, figure out how best to apply it, and make it even. I think that's something that I can still aspire to.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. I know we'll do it.
All right. I want to see if we can end on this note, which is I want to use the meme of one weird trick. If you remember all the weird ads we used to get before ad block of one weird trick to lose fat. So I want to ask if you have one weird trick related to Gen AI usage that you want to share.
Oh yeah, the most recent one, right? I mean, where all these four, uh, all these four models are saying to each other that world's best and world's best, right? I mean, you remember that Spider-Man's, right? I mean, four different Spider-Man
Oh yeah, pointing.
looking at each other,
Yeah,
right? Pointing to each other,
yeah.
right? It is like that, but I mean, one says saying I'm the world's best, and another says world's best, another says world's best,
Hmm.
but through Singapore local schools standard fifth math, and none of them can do it. I don't know what's wrong. I mean, I feel like our leaderboard. I mean, I need to start a new leaderboard where we take like a standard fifth math problem,
Yes, Ellie.
right?
PSLE benchmark.
Not that humanity, like, I mean, index, etc., but like just PSLE benchmark. And I think they will all, the day they happen, the day they are able to do all of them successfully in the right way, I think we should declare AGI already.
So PSLE maths is the bar for AGI. Amit says that.
By the AGI is, I mean, all this while I was thinking AGI, people are referring to Amit Gupta intelligence.
So yeah, obviously that's not going to arrive because that's just you. All right. This was such an amazing conversation, Amit. Thank you so much. If people want to contact you, how do they find you?
LinkedIn, right? I mean, find me. My name is there, Amit Prakash, and my family name Gupta. Or on Twitter, right? Amit P Gupta, and my email address, right, is amit@konfirmity.com. Thank you so much, Deepak. I mean, I think it was like fun, right? I mean, it was a good, nice conversation on a Saturday morning, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think we should do it in person, and I'm not sure, but I mean, I have a friend who does this for a living, and I'm going to ask him to someday facilitate this type of conversation, right, in person.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much. I will let you now go for the rest of your Saturday with family.
Thank you, Deepak. Talk
Thanks.
to you soon. See you soon.
See you. Bye.